All right, good evening. It is 6 p.m. and I'd like to call our meeting to order. At this time, we will be um, dismissing for an executive session for approximately 30 minutes to discuss the qualifications of applicants for public employment. Good evening. Our apologies for the delay. We are returning to our special meeting for the evening. At this time, we will call the meeting to order at 6:32, and we will begin our agenda review. Dr. Watts, are there any changes to the agenda? You're muted. Yeah. Still muted? Yeah.
All right.
There.
Can you hear me? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. President Daniels, yes, supplemental personnel report certainly has been added to the consent agenda as item 3.05.
Thank you. All right, so we're on to agenda item 2, our discussion and approval items. Agenda item 2.01, Titan, a link solution point of sale purchase and annual contract. Is there a motion?
I move that we accept a Titan A-Link solution point of sale purchase and annual contract.
I second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving agenda item 2.01, Titan, a link solution point of sale purchase and annual contract, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed indicate by raising your right hand and saying no. Any abstentions? The motion carries. I apologize. I did neglect to mention that Director Bettinger is excused for the evening. So from this, thank you. All right, on to agenda item 2.02, a renewal of the Smith Brothers dairy contract. Is there a motion?
I move the renewal of the Smith Brothers dairy contract.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I just have a comment that, boy, the CPI is really increasing on groceries. I mean, it's amazing how much I understand this is the norm and this is a fine contract and everything, but boy, our groceries are going up, aren't they? I saw that. It's pretty amazing. CPI that's a pretty incredible increase.
Yeah. Any additional discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving agenda item 2.02, the renewal of Smith Brothers dairy contract, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed indicate by raising your right hand and saying no. Are there any abstentions? The motion carries. 2.03, Park Orchard Elementary School fire alarm replacement, approval of final acceptance. Is there a motion?
I move that we accept the Park Orchard Elementary School fire alarm replacement approval of final acceptance.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving agenda item 2.03, the Park Orchard Elementary School fire alarm replacement approval of final acceptance, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed indicate by raising your right hand and saying no. Any abstentions? The motion carries. 2.04, New Valley Elementary School replacement, NL, Mountain View Academy, additional funding. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve New Valley Elementary replacement, Mountain View Academy additional funding.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? What does NL mean? What does that mean? I was just curious. The N/L after the name.
President Daniels, members of the board, Dr. Watts, Ms. Santello, I am not too sure what that means, to be honest.
Okay, no worries. Okay.
I don't know if that's in lieu of, but
Okay,
or now representing of. Sorry about that.
that's okay. Thank you. Is there any? Oh, go ahead.
This is the new elementary school, right?
This is.
Yes.
River Ridge, right?
It is River Ridge. That is correct.
Yeah, I figured because it's Military Road and Veterans Drive, so I was like, it has to be over there, but it wasn't called that, so I was kind of confused. So something about permitting had caused the budget to increase for the River Ridge School. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Buzzard, I have a question regarding, they said that, SeaTac, the city of SeaTac, and I think it actually, does the building fall in the city of SeaTac really in there? I was just kind of, is that part of Cantor SeaTac, or the streets are SeaTac, or?
So yes, the actual school falls in with the city of SeaTac.
Okay,
The water is Highline Water District,
right.
and the sewer is the city of Kent, and the
Right.
storm is sewer of Kent, is city of Kent. So we have been having to deal with 4 agencies in
Yeah.
one building.
That's crazy. I was curious though, they said they wanted you to make improvements to the walking path. They wanted it gone. So what did you put in place there? A better,
Director Hamada, at first we tried to work with the city to allow us to have a walking path through Grandview Dog Park on the on-leash side, not the off-leash side.
okay,
The city has come back and denied that request. The directors of the actual dog park has a board of directors, and those directors and the city manager would not allow us to have that walking path. So now we are looking at upgrading Military Road down the side of Military Road on the east side, so we can have a safe walking path, which is about 0.2 of a mile from the last sidewalk that is at the new Katera development on the corner of Military and Veterans to our school sidewalk. So we are looking at doing that.
So do I hear you saying you're putting sidewalks in there then?
We will not put sidewalks in. The city won't allow us to do that. But what we are putting in is delineation barriers down the side of the road. So there's a barrier, just like if you've ever been to Park Orchard Elementary School, the new one, and you will see going down 216th, there's the white fog line, and then there's an extruded curb, which is a delineation for a clear walking path for our students.
I've never seen, I mean, I've been to Park Orchard. I don't remember that. I used to tutor there, but that was a long time ago, but I don't remember. That's probably after I was there. And that kind of stuff costs that kind of money, huh?
This is not just inclusive of that. It is a lot of the permitting that went around with the beginning of the school and now at this venture.
And they don't have to have this all done when you're ready to go. They can come in after the fact and tell you a whole bunch of stuff, right? Is that what I hear you saying?
Director Hamada, I have been with the district for 4.5 years, and I have seen sets of plans that have come out of multiple agencies that said approved, and halfway through the building, we are required to do multiple additional items.
That's kind of unfair, but thank you.
You're very welcome.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving agenda item 2.04, New Valley Elementary School replacement, Kent Mountain View Academy additional funding, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye.
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 All those opposed indicate by raising your right hand and saying no. Are there any abstentions? The motion carries. 2.05, Meridian Middle School wood shop remodel, contract to SCF General Contractors LLC. Is there a motion?
I move adoption of Meridian Middle School woodshop remodel contract to SFC General Contractors.
I second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
It looks great. I like it.
Yes.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving agenda item 2.05, Meridian Middle School woodshop remodel contract to SCF General Contractors LLC, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed indicate by raising your right hand and saying no. Abstentions? The motion carries. 2.06, Meridian Middle School storage shed interior remodel and roofing replacement contract to SCF General Contractors LLC. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve Meridian Middle School storage shed interior remodel and roofing replacement contract to SCF General Contractors LLC.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving agenda item 2.06, Meridian Middle School Storage Shed Interior Remodel and Roofing Replacement Contract to SCF General Contractors LLC, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye.
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 All those opposed indicate by raising your right hand and saying no. Are there any abstentions? Motion carries. 2.07, Kent Meridian High School Student Store Remodel Contract to SCF General Contractors LLC. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve Kent Meridian High School Student Store Remodel Contract to SCF General Contractors LLC.
I'll second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I have a question. Didn't we, I thought we had recently done KM student store. Was that a different student store that we approved? Or is this a modified version?
A modified version.
Okay, so this is additional. Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving agenda item 2.07, Kent Meridian High School Student Store Remodel Contract to SCF General Contractors LLC, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed indicate by raising your right hand and saying no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. 2.08, Millennium Elementary School Multipurpose Room Contract to Electrocom Sound and Communication Systems. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve Meridian Elementary School Multipurpose Room Contract to Electrocon Sound and Communication Systems.
I second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I feel like I have to ask a question about Electrocom because we ask every single time, but I don't have a question.
Maybe they've all been answered. So. All right. Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving agenda item 2.08, Millennium Elementary School Multipurpose Room Contract to Electrocom Sound and Communication Systems, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed indicate by raising your right hand and saying no. Are there any abstentions? The motion carries. 2.09, the new Academy Building, additional funding. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the new Academy Building additional funding.
So second.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I just have a question. School districts are responsible for sewer lines and water lines and replacement of that. Is that correct?
Director Hamada, yes, that is. Anytime that we do any improvement to any of our school sites, to any agency in the state of Washington, we are considered a developer. We do not get any additional or special provisions. There are items that Israel, Avela, and I are working on with agencies outside right now for our next bond issue, that we have found out that we can go in and negotiate certain terms ahead of time. And I need to do the due diligence on our next bond to make sure that that happens.
I mean, I did something for the city of Covington, and can you negotiate sometimes 50-50 or stuff like that? Is that what you're talking about, Mr. Buzzard?
It can be. You have to have a reason of you have to have a reason of why you're doing it. Some developers will come in and say, I'm bringing this value to the city. And then the city can say, okay, we can give you certain concessions. The only issue with giving concessions is that if you do that in open air, then everybody wants them. But if you go in and negotiate that ahead of time, especially with us with being a school district, just remember, we still pay tax. Every job that we pay tax.
Yeah, that's why it's interesting. It's interesting. Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Usually we get a breakdown of the cost, but I don't see that attachment in BoardDocs.
It is not on top of this one, Director Benno. We have just asked for this amount, knowing that these changes are coming. It will be a part of the next change order that will see in September.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional discussion? All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving agenda item 2.09, new academy building additional funding, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed indicate by raising your right hand and saying no. Any abstentions? The motion carries. My apologies. I neglected to ask for a motion to add the supplemental agenda to the consent agenda item 3. Can I ask for a motion to add the supplemental report as agenda item 3.05?
Yes, I make a motion that we add 3.05 supplemental personnel report to the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor of adding the agenda item 3.05 to the consent agenda, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye.
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 All those opposed indicate by raising your right hand and saying no. Any abstention? The motion carries. All right, so now we're on to the consent agenda, items 3.01 through 3.05. Is there any item that someone would like to pull from the consent agenda?
President Daniels, I'd like to pull 3.02 for discussion.
Okay,
And 3.05.
okay. So can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda minus items 3.02 and 3.05?
Yes, I make a motion we approve consent agenda minus 3.02 and 3.05.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving agenda item, the consent agenda, item 3.01, 3.03, and 3.04, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed indicate by raising your right hand and saying no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, agenda item 3.02. Is there a motion to approve our 2021-22 non-represented salary schedules?
I make a motion we approve 3.02, 2021-2022 non-representative salary schedules.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion?
I think it's important to tell our public in public that we want as a district to remain competitive. We want to perhaps not be the very top in our salary, but we certainly want to be competitive in everything we do so we have the best chance of getting the very best candidates that want to come to our school districts. And I also want to recognize that I do realize that the last couple of years have been very hard on many, many people. And when I wear another hat, I deal with that every week of people facing evictions and all kinds of things because of loss of jobs, and loss of family members and sick family members, and even dying family members. It's not a pretty picture. Gratefully or graciously, we're coming out of this because of the great doctors and scientists that have found a way to help us through this pandemic and get to the other side. And hopefully, we're going to be to the other side. We're working our way toward that. We don't know about all the variants, but we're working our way toward that. And I want everybody to realize that any vote I take into consideration of all that. But in more important, if any place we are going to affect our society, our future, is in our educational systems. And we have to, as a society, if we have the potential and we have the ability to also compensate anybody that works in those positions. And the schools, whether you want to say they've been different, they have remained open. And probably, being the mother of a teacher in a different district, I know that the workload for the teachers have increased in the last couple of years. At least they have for my daughter. And what's been asked of them has been a lot, even though perhaps everybody's saying that they're not getting the in-person time or whatever. A lot of people are learning. A lot of the kids are growing. They're growing in ways that we don't even begin to measure and all that. So I want you to keep in mind that when you vote on salaries, it's important to realize that if we have the potential to keep good people in place and be competitive, we as a district, and really as a business, if we were a business, we are a business. We employ this, we're the second employer in this, I believe in King County for the most employees in this area. Maybe it's Kent, forgive me, I'd have to double check on that. I think Boeing is first, maybe Amazon, and then Kent School District when I last checked. But we have the ability to draw people to this district, and it is my personal goal to bring this district into the best possible district in every way we can do, to use, equity and excellence and community, which we're after. And I think this vote is going to reflect that. So thank you.
Thank you. And I would just like to add to that, that this particular vote is for non-represented salaries, which is not teachers. However, I just want to acknowledge the entire staff of the district who have all really stepped up and had to, had to take on a role that school districts never really were intended to take on, but we've done it and we continue to do it. So just to expand that just a little bit, just to be clear, this particular vote doesn't involve teachers. So. All right, I'll call for the vote then. All those in favor of approving Agenda Item 3.02, the 2021-2022 non-represented salary schedules, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed indicate by raising your right hand and saying no. Any abstentions? The motion carries. On to Agenda Item 3.05. Is there a motion to approve?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the top 4 employment recommendations as listed in the supplemental personnel report.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving Agenda Item 3.05, the top 4 recommendations in the supplemental personnel report, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed indicate by raising your right hand and saying no. Are there any abstentions? Motion carries. That brings us to the end of our special meeting. So at this time, we would like to adjourn. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Take care.
Have a good night.
Have a good evening.
Night.
You too. Thank
Night.
you.
Thanks, everyone.